I'm Mary Fletcher Jones. I'm the mother of a boy with autism, and I'm the creator of Living Well with Autism, which is a website and a series of videos that's designed to help parents live better with autism through free or inexpensive strategies they can do at home. And you know that I'm a big fan of visual helpers, and I wanted to do this quick video as I'm in the process of sending some of my visual helpers that my son has outgrown. He's 14 now. We've been using these since he was 2. So I'm distributing them to some Living Well with Autism Facebook fans. And as I was going through this, I thought, well, this would make a good video to talk about kind of the progression of how I used visual helpers and how you might start to use them too with your child of any age with autism. You know, there really is no wrong way to use visual helpers, except I would say a couple of caveats. One is to never try to use them. Sometimes teachers or therapists may discourage the use of visual helpers. They might say that, oh, if you use picture cards or other things that your child could become prompt dependent. And in this case, I did not find this to be true. I had a verbal child, and I felt it really increased his language and understanding, especially because I could tell that he did not process the language that he heard as well as neurotypical children. So big helper that way. Definitely helped with meltdowns, transitions, that kind of thing, and also helping him express himself. Now, in the beginning, I had very few resources, and I wanted to get started right away using visual helpers. So I basically started drawing things, and this is one of the first things I made, just to show you that there really is no wrong way to do this. We went to the fair, and I wrote this book, William Goes to the Fair, and as you can see, it's very rudimentary. I've, followed the basic social story guidelines that I had read about, but I drew the pictures about us going to the fair, and this is when he was really, really little, and what he did, and it was just for him, and it was just for him to understand it and give us something to talk about, and it really worked. From there, I graduated to, I wanted him to be able to talk about at school, this was when he was in preschool, what he had done over the weekend, because we usually did some pretty cool stuff. And so I tried to tell little stories about what he did. And this is where I was starting to use, a digital camera, and I would, laminate these and take them to Staples, and they would comb bind them. You could do that in any office supply store, or you could do it with Staples, or like this one is Staples, or tape. And this basically is just talking about him going on an excursion with his grandma and grandpa, and he got to pet some goats, and he got an ice cream cone. Typical great little kid's story, and he really, really liked this. It was a great tool for helping him kind of recall those memories and share them. Then when I started to learn how to use Boardmaker, which is a software program you may have heard of that helps you use visual helpers with a lot of kind of pre-made illustrations that you can customize, I made a little book like this. This is one of the first social stories I used. It's called When Mommy Sings. And it was basically to, he's about 3 or 4 in this picture. William and I, of course, went to therapy all the time, and we're in the car, and I would turn on the radio, and I like to sing with the radio, and he would yell or scream, or he would do something inappropriate. So I made I made this book that, I wasn't judging him for that, but it was basically telling him how to use his words and appropriate language to ask me to stop singing. And that helped a whole lot. It really did work. Now that he's getting older, I've created social stories for things like self-care. This one is about how to take care of your feet and what you would use, powder, and how to use cream for athlete's foot and things like that. And I've basically taken, a photo album that you can buy usually for about 99 cents. And I just kind of put the pictures in like that just because it was quick and easy for me to do. So short little story about taking care of your feet. And then from there, I used actually PowerPoint to make this, since my son was showing an interest in rock and roll and the history of rock and roll, and that's a great conversation topic, right? And he's getting more conversational, and so we're moving up in a level, right? So this was one of his favorite albums, and we talked a lot about the Beatles, and we threw some history in there, and these were just pictures that, I got from the internet. He found interesting, and since I'm not selling or distributing this, I don't have to worry about copyright or anything like that because, it's just for my son. So it's basically to help him understand the era, and he loves this. And I make this about, his favorite artists like Adele, and that kind of thing. Anything that he's just really into, I might make a little book about it and kind of help him talk about it more at school and kind of have more extended conversations. So those are books and social stories. Providing your child with a narrative about his or her experiences can really be helpful. And if you just draw the pictures, even they're little simple stick figures, it can be great. So that was one way I got started, and it kind of progressed. Then let's talk about the picture cards. Okay, so I wanted to do picture cards, very young, and I knew that food was a really good place to start with a very young child because, they're all about food and it's easy to talk about. So I actually drew my own picture cards in the beginning of things that, that he would eat, like, well, at one time he did eat broccoli and French fries and corn and stuff like that. And you could tell, I'm not a great artist, right? But he knew what they were, and it helped at dinner time or lunch, to say, this is what we're eating, this is what we're having. So that's where I started. That was before I knew how to do Boardmaker. You don't have to wait to learn how to use Boardmaker, or maybe you can't purchase it, maybe you don't have a color printer, whatever it is. You can do something with just your drawings. Okay, and then from there, I wanted to talk about toys, okay, the other thing that kids love. So I could get pictures, again, from the internet, Toys R Us sites, Target, or whatever, and I could find pictures of his toys and make little picture cards of them. And then we could do a schedule, or we could help him make play choices, whatever, what have you. These are picture cards that you can download from free from Do to Learn, which is one of my favorite sites. And they're black and white, and I just colored them in with magic markers because I thought they looked a little nicer. And these were daily living activities. So I put them in a sleeve like this because it kind of just helped protect them, and laminating gets kind of expensive sometimes. So if I needed to recopy it or whatever, it was fine. It was already in there. That was that. And then when I learned how to use Boardmaker, which is really helpful, then I was able to do more things like this. This is like when he was going to auditory therapy, integration therapy, and so we had a schedule of things to do. So he understood what was happening, what was going to be next. And it was very, very helpful in getting him to, cooperate with me and when we were going on those almost daily visits for that. So, like I said, Boardmaker is great. If you don't have it, maybe you can't afford it, you can ask at your school. There might be a resource at the library there for parent resources to use it. Maybe they'll make some picture cards for you. Or again, like I did, sometimes I just did my own schedule in a pinch. This one was going on a plane trip. So it was really important for him to understand the steps, and it was just me, and I wanted to make sure he got through security and everything. And you can find these on Boardmaker, these kinds of pictures, but I wanted to make something really specific, and he liked to check things off. So just laminated it. It worked out really nice. Here's another example of how you might use picture cards with your child. This was my son's family when he was very young. That's actually a couple of his therapists and one of his best friends. So we could say, we're going to go see Grandma, and we'd actually have a picture of her, and you can see how it's laminated. Now, laminating, as you can see, these have really held up. He's 14 now, and I was using these when he was like a really little boy. So laminating is, highly recommended. You don't always have to use it, but you can put them all in a sheet, whether you're cutting them out of magazines or what have you, or making pictures, and then take them to an office supply store, or you can go to like a teacher's store, and they could sometimes have laminators as big as poster board. And if you stick a lot of them, you can get a lot of picture cards out of them for not a lot of money. So if you don't have a laminator yourself, and I didn't, then doing that may save you some money going that way. Or you can put them in a little sleeve like that. Here's another example of we were talking about, what's the weather like outside. So we use that kind of strip. And here's one I drew because I couldn't find a ball pool. So that was something that he loved to do, so I drew a picture. So, you can have fun with it. Here's a picture card of his therapist. So we were going to go see Miss Joanne. And, maybe holding on to these individual picture cards can be a real challenge. They're small, they're easy to lose, and that's where I've used things like this, which I think I've shown you before, which is just this is actually an occupational therapy folder, and I put in all the OT things, like the swing and the tunnel and joint compressions and whistles. And there's a speech therapy thing. So anything I thought that the therapist might be able to use that week, I put in this one. And then we had another one for daily schedules that we kind of used. And because they're Velcro and you can take them off, like that, very easy. You can put them in pocket things that are meant to hold coupons, you know, those little pocket coupon holders, and little mini photo albums I think also work really well if you just want something to put in your purse. So those are some ways to use visual helpers. There's lots of them that you can download for free and print from my website. If you don't have a printer, download them, put them on a flash drive. Let me see what that flash drive or thumb drive. I don't have one to show you, but hopefully you know what that is. And then you can take that to some place like Staples or what's the one that has all the copy supplies? So you know the one I'm talking about, the copy store. Take them there, they'll print them for you. Or take them to your school, your resource center, whatever, if they'll allow you to make a few color copies. And then make your own. You know, make your own out of magazine pictures or catalog pictures. And things that you draw, because your child will love it. And you don't have to use them every day. There's no rule about visual helpers, but you know, start using them for fun, and then when you have them, when times are hairy or you need them for that transition, then your child will be used to using them. They help my son a lot. He's not using them a whole lot anymore. Of course, he really loves actually the social stories, but he's not using the picture cards as much. But I'm really happy that we did use it, and it definitely saved my butt a lot of times. So, you know, write to me if you have any questions about using visual helpers. I can't say I'm an expert, but, you know, I have used them, and I'll put some resources in this video so you understand some places where you can go and find some really great ones online that are perfectly free to download and print. And try out BoardMaker if you have that resources, because that's a fabulous resource, and you will be able to do all kinds of things if you can afford to use BoardMaker in your home. Take care.